Hi guys, good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video, I will be joined by none other than my co-host here on the EdWord, even though I'm not too fond of him hogging my camera time. Please welcome my co-host, Ghostface, everybody.
Yeah, that's right. Hello, everybody. Your favorite guy is back once again in full force. It is I, Ghostface. Thank you so much, Eddie, for that warm and wonderful introduction. And oh boy, do we have a lot of juicy stuff to talk about tonight. I'm talking about stabbing, killing, slashing, shooting. Oh my god, moments. Oh, it was one hell of a season finale, I'll tell you that much. I don't know about you, but I was very much satisfied. In more ways than one.
Anyway, like Ghostface said, welcome back to the EdWord, and like Ghostface said, we are going to be talking about our reaction to the Season 1 finale of Scream. And this will be, we'll of course be talking about our reactions and our thoughts and reviews to it and what we thought of that big finale and that surprise reveal at the end there. So I'll start by saying, called it, I called it. I freaking called it. Did I not say it was going to be Piper Shaw? Did you not hear me say that? Do you not remember me saying that? I said it was going to be Piper Shaw, and I was absolutely 100% right. I said she is definitely one of the two killers, if not the killer. And sure enough, it turns out, it was interesting because, this episode was extremely nostalgic, reminded me of the very first Scream film. A way it's like, it's the big climactic scene. It ends at somebody's house, a house that's throwing a party where there's people drinking and making poor, horrible decisions, and there's a killer on the loose. And sure enough, most of the characters had their run-in with the killer, and it's like, sure enough, the big climactic scenes at the house. Or not necessarily at the house, but it's at the lake near the house. And of course, that's when things got really interesting. And what I thought was interesting, as I'm sure Ghostface here will tell you, was that, we saw, the sheriff's demise. Now, at first I thought, oh, good, they found the sheriff. I like him. And then as they go to unwrap the rope from him, I'm like, oh, no. And what was interesting is that it was an instant reminder of the very first death in the first Scream film, where we see Drew Barrymore's character, Casey, hanging from the tree with her intestines hanging out of her body, and she's like going back and forth from the tree. You did a hell of a number on her, by the way, in that opening scene. I mean, that was some pretty scary shit. So, well done, G. Well done. And
thank you, Eddie. Thank you. I very, very much appreciate that. I really owe it to the late and great Wes Craven, rest in peace, for that whole sequence. I mean, he really told me to go for it and, actually kill Drew Barrymore. He told me, kill Drew Barrymore. It's not Casey Becker. I want you to kill Drew Barrymore. But, I have kind of grown a respect for Drew, and I didn't really want to do her right there. At least not in that sense. But, yes, I agree with you. Seeing the sheriff tied to the tree like that, I'm like, oh, nostalgia, memories of how I got to Drew Barrymore. Her intestines were hanging out with her ovaries. I don't know if her ovaries were in that scene or not, but you get my point. And yes, thank you for bringing that point up as well, is that, yes, the sheriff's death scene was very much reminiscent of Casey Becker's death scene in the opening of my personal favorite of the installment, Scream.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, those are some interesting points there. I mean, but like I was saying, the whole episode, I'm like, okay, who was missing for this amount of time? Where did they say they were? Who claimed to be where? And who can you really trust? This entire episode, I was saying how the last episode was the most suspicious episode of the season so far. Well, this episode tops that. It's you can literally trust nobody except Emma throughout this entire episode. You don't know who the killer is and who else is in on it. You just don't know. It could be Noah. Brooke could have been in on it some weird way. Could have been Audrey. Could have been Jake. Could have been Kiernan. It was definitely Piper. Piper was definitely involved. And this whole episode, I kept saying to myself, it's got to be Piper. It's got to be Piper. It's got to be Piper. And sure enough, it was Piper. Makes perfect sense. She's a few years older than Emma, and she resented Emma for the life that she never had. She hated the fact that she was given up for adoption, and that, in her eyes, her mom, Daisy, got her father, Brandon James, killed, and she wanted revenge. And she took out her revenge on Emma by taking it out on all of her friends and high school classmates. That's what I thought. That's what I thought was interesting. It's like, she made Emma suffer. She made her suffer loss the way she felt loss when she realized her father had been taken from her, died, and that her mother had given her up for adoption, and tracked them and went back to Lakewood years later as a podcaster, as a reporter, and slowly carried out this whole plan of, executed this plan of revenge. And I thought it was very very well played. I mean, she was clever. She was very, very good. And she points out the fact how, she even points out jokingly to Emma of how sexist it is that Emma assumed that the killer was male and that it was the son of Brandon James. But as I said in my other prediction videos...
Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold it! Your prediction videos, those are my prediction videos, sir. Those are my videos. I take credit for them. Hell, I'm the one who always does the recap and review videos for every Scream episode there's been so far. So what do you mean, your predictions? Those are my predictions. I am talking about what I think is going to happen in the next episode, and so on and so forth. So don't be stealing my credit, dog. Don't be taking my credit from me, homie. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I just can't keep up with kids today. I don't know the current slang or whatever, but you know what I mean, dude? Don't take credit for someone else's work. It's my work. Mine.
Okay, I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, as Ghostface said in the earlier videos, talking about how the killer could either be female or male, that's what I meant to say. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take you away from your screen time. Or scream time. that was pretty good, right? Yeah. I'm sorry. But, sorry about that. But overall, though, this episode was great. Extremely nostalgic and very reminiscent of the very first Scream, the big who's the killer reveal. And, of course, it was also very reminiscent of the original Friday the 13th, because at the end of the original Friday the 13th, as you remember, we see Jason pop out of the lake for one last scare, and even Noah remarked earlier in this episode how there's going to be one final scare, and even Emma says it right after she shoots Piper for the first time. She's like, she said something like there might be one more scare or no more scares from you or something, and then after Audrey shoots Piper, it's like one last scare is done or something. So I liked how they poked fun at themselves, because that's exactly what Randy Meeks, Jamie Kennedy's character, said in the first Scream, right before Sidney shot Billy in the forehead. It's like, careful, the killer comes back for one last scare. And Piper emerging from the lake all wet with the knife was very reminiscent of Jason, like emerging from the lake of Camp Crystal Lake with his big ass machete. And then, of course, Audrey finished her off with a gunshot to the head. Or did she?
Yes, good point there, Eddie. I liked the way you said, or did she? Because that's an excellent point. I mean, if you think about it, we actually don't see a headshot. I mean, we see Emma shoot at... Wait, was it Emma or Audrey? Well, whoever it was, we don't really see them shoot right directly at their forehead. We just see, we just see Piper gets shot and her body falls back, but we don't see a direct headshot. Nothing indicating that the bullet entered the forehead or the brain, and there was the lack of blood and the brains everywhere. That makes me wonder, did Piper Shaw actually die? Do we ever see them recover her body? Do they actually confirm she's dead? What if, like her father, her father supposedly died, but what if she actually survived this, unlike her father? It leaves you with a lot of questions, doesn't it? We're left with all of these questions because, of course, it's the season finale. I think they're meant to leave us with a lot of questions, and I think, hopefully, we're going to get some of those answers in Season 2, or we're going to get some closure on a couple of things, like, specifically Audrey's involvement, and more importantly, why. So yeah, I'm waiting for Season 2, baby.
Yep, like you said, next season we're going to find out next season. Hopefully, as how far involved Audrey was and why. Most importantly, why? What is her main reason or motive here? Maybe Piper was paying her or blackmailing her, or Audrey was doing this willingly, working with her willingly. We'll find out. But overall, a hell of a first season. Way to go to the cast and crew, and of course. On behalf of Ghostface and myself, I'm sure he'll want to say a few words, but we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the friends and family of Wes Craven. R.I.P. Wes Craven. Thank you so much for the films you have given us over the years. Ghostface and I, of course, enjoy the Scream franchise, and I also really enjoyed Shocker. Shocker was pretty fun. And the original The Hills Have Eyes was pretty good. But overall, thank you, Mr. Craven. Just thank you so much for all the movies you've given us over the years. Any final thoughts, Ghostface?
Yes, Wes Craven. Oh, I was so saddened to hear about that. You know what? Do you remember when we first heard about it, you and I? We were watching the second episode of Fear the Walking Dead, and right after it was over, we both go on our phones, we're like, do, what's going on in the world of news? Wes Craven dead at 76? Oh no! And I was like, are you kidding me? The man who helped bring me to life? Oh, I was so disappointed to hear that. He was such a great guy, a hell of a director to work with. I mean, I would know. I was in 4 of his movies, of course. And whenever they needed the phone voice or they needed me, I was always there, ready to be available, ready to play the part. I mean, I'm going to miss the guy, and I think I speak for a lot of horror fans here that he really helped create a genre of smart horror, or at least clever horror, especially the first Scream. It was very, very clever. Made fun of itself, it poked fun at the horror genre, but it was very, very clever, and very, very smart as well. So thank you, Wes Craven. Thank you so much for all of the films. And of course, I speak on behalf of my good friend Freddy Krueger, and he and I were just out at the bar having a few drinks the other day. It was kind of hard for us to fit in, looking the way we are. But, he misses Wes Craven as well, and we're both really going to miss him a lot. So wherever you are, Mr. Craven, thank you very, very much for the legacy you left behind. Yep, so wherever you are, Mr. Craven, like I said, thank you for leaving one hell of a legacy behind. And we're going to miss you, but at least we'll have your movies forever and ever to enjoy. And, with that being said, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, of course, so you can see more videos of me. I don't know so much about Eddie, but at least you get to see lots of Ghostface. We could also use some more Ghostface in our lives, right?
Yep. Well said, G. Well said. Like Ghostface said, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video. Share your thoughts and opinions down below. What was your favorite moment from this season finale or the season overall? What are you guys looking forward to in Season 2? Sound off down below. We'd love to hear from you. On behalf of Ghostface and myself, thanks again for tuning in here on the EdWord. And stay subscribed for more upcoming content as well. And thanks again for sharing. Thanks again for sharing your joy of Scream with us. We love hearing from you guys. So thanks again for tuning in, and have a great rest of the night. And of course, until next time.
The Force be with you. I'm sorry, Eddie. I couldn't help it. I never close that with that line. You know the one I like to close with. "What's your favorite scary movie?" That's my personal favorite line. I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist. I couldn't hold back and cut you off. It was a lot of fun. Oh, one final thought before I go. I forgot to mention this earlier, like you did. I can't believe you didn't remember it, Mister I'm a Nerd. You know, and I loved how Branson was the Cotton Weary of this season, of this show. Cotton Weary was framed for the original murders in the first movie, and that's exactly what happened to Mr. Branson. He was a pawn in Piper Shaw's unholy chess game of playing and destroying people's lives. He actually was innocent. He may have a shady past, but he was innocent of all these killings. And so Piper, wearing the costume, broke him out of jail, killed that guard, and of course he was forced to escape knowing how it would look, but he actually was innocent all along. He was the Cotton Weary of this show, and I can't believe you didn't mention that earlier. But I just wanted to leave that thought with you guys. So, like Eddie said, thanks again for tuning in, and have a great rest of the night. Good night, everybody!
You asshole. This guy.